This is a lecture for Unit 2.01, and the purpose of the lecture is to make sure that you understand how to create and use objects in C#. Now, to create an object, you have to have a class, and the class is going to define the state and behavior of the object. So we have a program here called Book Project. We're going to create two objects. We're going to create an author object and a book object. Okay, so let's look at the author class first. We have the author class here. We've got three fields, string name, string email, and char gender. We have auto-implemented getters and setters or properties for each of those fields. That's going to allow us to set the value for the field or to get the value for the field. The only other thing we have in the class is a constructor method. And you can see it's a default constructor. It has nothing in the parameters. And so a default constructor is going to set all things to null, empty, or zero, which you can see that we have done here. Okay, we also have a book class. You can see here an interesting thing. The first field of the book class is an object itself. It's the author object. And then we have a string title, a double price, and an int units in stock. And then we also have auto-implemented properties for those fields. Now in the book field, a book class, we have two constructors. We have a default constructor, and then we also have a constructor where we pass in the author object and the title to the properties, to the fields. Okay, so now we're going to go up to the main method. And since we have to use an author object to create a book class or to fill in for the book class, we're going to go ahead and do that first. Okay, and to instantiate a object, you have to use the class name. You create an identifier. You set it equal, and then you have to use the keyword new with the class. You don't have to use it with structures, but you do with class. And then we have author here, and we only have default constructors, so we have to have empty parameters. Okay, so now we have an author, author one. It's an instance of author, the author class. It has it has access to all of the members of the author class, including the fields and the constructors. So we've used the constructor. Now we're going to use those getters and setters or properties to assign values to that author one object. So the first one we're going to assign is the name, and we're going to set that equal to a famous author, David Baldassi. Okay, so now author one has a name. We're also going to assign email, and this is not David's real email. Okay, so now author one has an email, and then we're also going to assign gender, and that's going to be assigned as a char, the mchar. Okay, so now we have author, and we have all of the fields assigned to the author one object. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's instantiate a book object. So we use the class, we give it a name, keyword new, class again. Now this time we have, you can see our IntelliSense says, hey, you've got an overloaded method here or constructor. You can use this one and pass in the author object in the title, or you can use the default. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to pass in the author, and the title is the target. Okay, so that is a way also that you can make assignments to fields, as you can do it in a constructor if that constructor is not a default constructor. All right, but we do have some more fields, so we're going to go ahead and fill those in. We want to have the price. We're going to say the price is $25.99, and we also have I guess that's it. Is that it? What else do we have? That's it. Let's see. We got author, price, title. Oh, units in stock. Okay, we're going to say we have 8. Oh, and I didn't get my equals in here. You got to have your equals. Okay, now that is how you use your properties as setters. Okay, we set values to the fields using the setter property. Now we're going to use the getter. We're going to write it to the console. Okay, so let's just go ahead. This is going to be the author object. And so we're going to put that there. And we're going to put in a new line. And then we're going to put in the name of the author. And we're going to call the property using the object author1.name. Okay, then we're going to say, okay, now a new line. We also want the email for the author. Okay, and so then we're going to use the object to, use the object to author1 to get to his email. Okay, and then we're going to lastly tell his gender and use the object to call that as well. Okay, same thing with book. Okay, and we're going to add book 1 units in stock. All right, and I need to change to number in stock. And I think I forgot to put a new line here. So let's do that. And there may be some spacing errors, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to run it and see what happens. Oh yeah, we want to put a, we want to put a read line so we can actually read. It will stay on there for more than a second. All right, now let's run it. And there we go. We've got author, the name. We have a spacing error there. Email, David Baldassi. Gender male, book, spacing problem there. Okay, so we're going to go back. I'm going to go back and fix my spacing problems, which is right here and right here. And also the line in between just to make it easier to read. All right, now it should be looking good. Okay, so we have the author, an instance of an author, and there is the information that's held by the object. And then we have an instance of the book class, and here's the information held by this object. I hope that gave you a little bit of an idea of how to create an object and how to use the object to assign properties.